he was more like, you need to get Mark Harris in here.
A stunning admission from a woman who said a man paid her to illegally collect ballots and promote Mark Harris as a candidate.
Yes, and she is the second person that our Joe Bruno tracked down who said that she just needed some extra money. Joe, she said she did not know that this was against the law.
Yes, she elaborated on her motivation for participating. She told me she wanted to use extra money for Christmas.
What would you do with the ballots after you picked them up?
Take them straight to the office in Dublin and hand them over to McCray. And I don't know what happened to them after that. I know there was stacks of them on his desk, but other than that, I don't know.
So you gave all the ballots to McCray. You didn't mail them.
Yeah, we gave them all to McCray.
What did McCray do with the ballots after you gave them to him?
I'm not sure. I know there was a stack of them on his desk. He said he had to mail them. I don't know. I went with him when he done that.
Do you think McCray mailed every single one of those ballots that were delivered to him?
All of them I seen, I would say yes, but I can't because I didn't see it all.
So you don't know for sure?
Yeah.
What made you want to do this? What made you want to get involved?
Well, I knew election stuff was supposed to be something good to do, and then plus I needed a little extra money to get Christmas for my son. So that's why, the main reason I did that.
Have you been in contact with McCray at all since all this?
I seen him a couple of days ago uptown at one of the stores, and he spoke to me, and that's been it.
What did he say?
He was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was about it.
So he didn't seem to be concerned about the investigation?
No, he didn't.
One thing that stood out to me, though, she said she thought this was a whole legitimate process because she says Dallas had been doing this for years. She also said that Dallas told her to push undecided voters toward Harris.
And as you were talking to her, I saw in her facial expression it was kind of setting into her, and she seemed to get a little emotional about going through this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe. Channel 9 learned that Mark Harris's campaign paid a political consulting firm in Huntersville.
That firm then hired McCray Dowless, the man at the center of the investigation. Eyewitness News reporter Mark Becker spent the day looking into that firm and the critical role that it could play in this case.
For more than 5 years, the Red Dome Group has been consulting for Republican candidates in North Carolina and elsewhere, including 9th District candidate Mark Harris, whose campaign paid Red Dome a total of $428,000 in 2017 and 2018. We've learned that some of that money went to pay McCray Dowless, the man in the middle of the fraud investigation into absentee ballots in Bladen and Robeson counties. The man behind Red Dome is Andy Yates. He was behind the scenes in the Harris campaign, but since news of the possible fraud broke, Yates has been hard to reach.
Hi, you've reached the voicemail of Andy Yates with the Red Dome Group.
We did learn that the Secretary of State's office took away Red Dome's corporate status last year after they failed to file annual reports for 2 years.
Hi, is this Miss Justice?
I did reach this woman, Carolyn Justice, a former state lawmaker from Wilmington who's listed as Red Dome's lead consultant, and I asked her about Dowless.
Yeah, his name is McCray Dowless. Do you know him?
She told me she wasn't involved in the 9th District campaign at all. Finally, I tried to reach Mark Harris himself.
This is Mark Harris. I'm sorry I missed your call.
I left a voicemail, but have yet to hear back.
All right, so Dr. Michael Bitzer's back with us now, and we've seen Joe's been on CNN, MSNBC. There's going to be a lot of focus from around the country and Washington on our District 9. That's a big deal.
It really is. My understanding is that most all of the House, along with even some major senators, are watching the developments in this district, trying to understand what the real impact is. And if there is a new election, that means a whole new dynamic in terms of North Carolina being again in the epicenter. We're a battleground state, but this is going to take it to a whole new level, I think.
And Dr. Bitzer, we talk about the fact of voters and having confidence in the process, the broader scale of this. Different years we've seen some voter apathy. Recently it seems that voters have been more engaged, but this could prove to be a setback because it kind of starts to make people doubt something they believed in for so long.
It does, and I have to say first, these are allegations.
Right.
A lot of work has been done by this. We will find out more. But in taking the bigger picture about this, we're not talking about voter fraud, we're talking about election fraud. And this is really striking at the heart of the core civic process that we as citizens participate in and decide the future of our government. And if people lose trust and confidence, that is a major concern for those of us who study it and for those of us who participate in it as well.
And a thorough investigation, getting to the bottom of this, can be a first step to restore that trust.
Exactly.
All right, Dr. Bitzer, thank you.
Today, North Carolina legislators called for the governor to create a bipartisan task force to investigate this District 9 election. Anchor Allison Lattis questioned the Mecklenburg County Senator Dan Bishop, a vocal supporter of Mark Harris during the primary and the general elections.
Do you still support him?
Well, look, I have very, very high regard for him. I've been an endorser of Mark Harris, and today I support him. But we'll see what the facts develop to and what turns out to be the case, and we'll make new decisions based on all that.
What would you say to anyone who would question your involvement in this effort to push for a bipartisan task force?
Well, I'm calling for investigations of everyone involved. What is clear is we need to have a transparent, thorough, and prompt investigation of all of this, not just in one race, but certainly in all of the Bladen County situations, maybe going back to 2012, and then wherever it leads, statewide perhaps.
Now, Governor Roy Cooper said today that it is important for this investigation to play out.
It's important that North Carolina have fair and free elections, and it's important for us to allow those investigators and prosecutors to do their work.
And former Governor Pat McCrory weighed in on the allegations, saying the state should not be surprised by this. McCrory told Channel 9 he raised concerns about fraud in Bladen County during his re-election campaign 2 years ago. His campaign claimed hundreds of absentee ballots were fraudulently cast for Roy Cooper.
Those complaints were well known in 2016, and there were obviously some who didn't want to investigate it.
Now, McCrory said he thinks absentee by mail voting should be eliminated except for members of the military.